What's up guys, I'm going out for just a couple of miles. I'm thinking about 4 miles, and then I'm going to throw in just a couple of 400s, probably at, I don't know, 5k effort, just to get my legs turning over as I am just deep into the taper. Boston Marathon is just a few days away at this point, so I'm going to do that today. And you can see I'm wearing a t-shirt because it's pretty cold out. It's, I think, 63 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 17 degrees Celsius, so it's a little chilly for me, especially compared with last week when it was 3 in the morning and I was just profusely sweating. Okay, what else? Okay, so I guess I want to talk to you guys today about my shoe choice for the Boston Marathon. So let's see, what have I reviewed? Well, let's talk about that when I get back, because I do have a couple options and I'm kind of leaning towards one or two more than the others, but we'll talk about that. And I guess I want your opinion. I want to know what you think and what I should go with. Of course, you're not in my head, you don't know how these shoes feel on my feet, but I'd still like to hear your opinion of what you think I should choose and what you would choose if you were in my position. So let's get this run done and then we'll talk about shoes when I get back. Come on. What was I saying about it being cold? My gosh, I'm on my cool down now, so I knocked out those 400s. I did 400 recovery in between at around 5k pace, or at least building up to 5k pace. Now I'm on my last mile, just cooling down, letting that heart rate recover a bit. Oh, can you see the sweat glistening? Oh yeah, so I take it back, it's not chilly out. 17 degrees is well, it turns out that's too warm to be running at 5k pace. Hey, if you're running Boston, have you been checking the weather? It looks like it's gonna be okay. Not terrible, not terrible. I think the high is going to be about what it is right now with me running, so that doesn't look ideal, but hopefully the humidity is a little lower, and maybe it won't even reach that temperature by the time a lot of us finish. So it might not reach the high temperature, which I think right now is 62 Fahrenheit until late afternoon. So keeping my fingers crossed. At least at the start, it should be in the 50s, which is really nice. Hey, a silver lining to that cloud is that I don't have to pack a bunch of big, bulky clothes to stay warm at Athletes Village before the race. That's always good. I can just pack a couple of light long sleeves and a hat and gloves, and that should keep me nice and toasty until it's time to start running. All right, I'm gonna get back to the house. I'm gonna jump in the shower so you don't have to look at this mess, and then we'll talk about a shoe plan for the Boston Marathon. And while we're at it, I want to know what shoe you raced in for your last race, and if you'd recommend it. So for the people reading the comments, do you recommend the shoe that you last raced in? All right, let's get cleaned up. Okay, fresh from the shower, and we're going to talk about running shoes as far as my strategy going into the Boston Marathon and which shoe I am thinking of wearing. Basically, it comes down to these three shoes right here. We have the Nike Vaporfly 3, Mizuno's Wave Rebellion Pro, and the Saucony Endorphin Elite. Now, you've probably seen my full review of the Wave Rebellion Pro. At the time this video is released, you haven't seen my review of the Endorphin Elite. However, that does come out in a couple of days. So you will see my review of this before I run the Boston Marathon. And I just got these a couple of days ago. I really didn't think these were going to be an option for me when I first put them on my feet, but it turns out they probably are. So let's start with the Vaporfly 3. Let's see, I've run a lot of races in the Next% 2, the second version of the Vaporfly, and it's always been a pretty good shoe for me. I do like the soft cushioning of Zoom X, and it just kind of feels good. Like, because it was the first one that came out back in the 4% days, I've always felt very comfortable with it, and the Vaporfly 3 certainly continues that same feeling. It's everything you know and love about the 4%, the Next%, and now the Vaporfly 3. It's a solid option. I didn't think it was going to be, but it's definitely there. The Wave Rebellion Pro. Now get this. This was my favorite coming into the Boston Marathon. This was the shoe that I wanted to run this race in. I love how it looks. It's different and it feels very fast. However, this shoe is not like the Endorphin Elite or the Vaporfly 3 because it just feels a little different. And because of the different feeling, I'm not sure I want to risk taking it out for a marathon before I've raced shorter distances in it. Does that make sense? So here's my thing. And if you saw my review of the Wave Rebellion Pro, then you already know how I feel about it. But this shoe definitely favors someone that runs efficiently. I know I don't run efficiently. I only run midfoot striking when I am running at a good clip. And obviously once I get tired, kind of get lazy and a little bit sloppy with my foot strike. Now, a 5K, it doesn't really matter. I'm running fairly fast for a 5K, so there's really no worries in landing midfoot, you know, right around here, which is what this shoe favors. And I think up to the half marathon. Now, I have run a lot of workouts in this shoe, but I haven't raced in it. I think the longest I've run in the Wave Rebellion Pro, 11, 12, 13 miles maybe, but not at race pace. So my only concern is that if I don't take this out for a half marathon to see how it feels at that distance, at that pace, I'm worried that the marathon is just a little slower. So I'm not going to be running at half marathon pace for a marathon, obviously. And when I get to the back half of the marathon, I know how I feel. This isn't my first rodeo. I've done enough marathons to know that I'm going to be pretty knackered at the end of the race. And I don't think this shoe favors my sloppy stride when I'm getting tired. Now, if I had a beautiful running stride where I'm landing midfoot for the whole thing, even when I got tired, this would be my shoe of choice, just because this shoe feels very quick. And I feel like for the right person that this shoe could be the fastest thing. So I'm kind of like, I want this to be my race day shoe, but I'm kind of leaning away from it. Then we have the Saucony Endorphin Elite. Fantastic shoe, brilliant shoe. You have not seen my review, as I've already said, but you know what? I've been running in this shoe quite a bit. I even ran a 20-mile run at a fairly easy pace. So I did one of my long runs in this shoe just to test it out, to see how it felt when I was running in it for hours. It was after that run that I realized that this is a pretty good shoe, and even for me, when I'm getting sloppy at the end of a race, this shoe is going to be very forgiving. Now, the Endorphin Elite is quite a bit softer than the Endorphin Pro 3, which is what I've run my last couple of marathons in. And at first, I thought that was going to be a bit dodgy, didn't think I was going to like it, but it turns out I like it quite a lot. So, I think when it comes down to it, I mean, these are the three I have to choose from. I think I can probably rule this out just because I don't think it's a safe option, but I think I can pretty much do a toss-up between these two. Now, of course, I had high hopes for the Deviate Elite Nitro 2, but again, it's just a little firm. It doesn't have the same energy return that I feel in the Vaporfly 3 or the Saucony Endorphin Elite. I was really hoping to get a pair of the Hoka Rocket X2s, but they have not come in. I don't think I'm going to be getting a pair of those. We'll see down the line, but I'm definitely not going to have them before Boston, because Boston is in a couple of days. And even if they magically appeared in my hands right now, I would not have enough time to run in them to make sure that a brand new shoe to me feels good. So ultimately, I am looking at the Saucony Endorphin Elite or the Next Percent 3, and I want to know your opinions. If you were in the same boat as me, what would you choose? I've run a lot more marathons in my marathon career in Nike shoes, but I have run my most recent marathons in Saucony shoes. Even though the Endorphin Elite is quite a bit firmer than the Endorphin Pro 3, I still think this is going to be a good race day shoe. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not including the Endorphin Pro 3 in my lineup of prospective marathon shoes. And for a while, in fact, when I first got the Saucony Endorphin Elite, I wasn't sure. And I thought I may be going back to the Endorphin Pro 3 in order to run my next couple of marathons. But hey, you've got to give these shoes a chance for them to actually get used to you. Well, that's not really anything. You have to give yourself a chance to get used to the shoe. And I found that after I ran in the Endorphin Elite for a long time, I realized that the Endorphin Pro 3 was not something that I thought was better than the Endorphin Elite. And because it's just newer, I knew I was going to choose the Endorphin Elite over the Endorphin Pro 3. That's just in case you were wondering. This shoe, the Vaporfly 3, you know, it's like coming home. It's like when I put this shoe on my feet, and today I just went out for my last little bit of speed. I wore the Vaporfly 3 just because I haven't run very much in it. I got it very late, like I was already in my taper when I got the Vaporfly 3. So I wanted to go out and just do some pickups in it, just to throw some miles in it to make sure that it's feeling good. Because the shoe does require me to do a lace lock, and I don't know if you've experienced the lace lock or the heel lock method of lacing, but sometimes when you do that, it puts a lot of pressure on the top of your foot. I was a little worried that I was going to get that pressure because the Vaporfly 3 for me requires the lace lock in order for it to fit. First shoe that's ever happened in for me. Why don't you write in the comments and let me know what you think. Should I use the Saucony Endorphin Elite or the Nike Vaporfly 3? I might put a poll out as well, but I want you guys to drop a comment just so I can really hear, you know, what you thought. You can go a little deeper in a video in the comments than you can on just some random YouTube or Instagram poll. That's it for today. I'm just trying to decide what shoe I should wear. Maybe I'll even bring both to Boston just so I don't have to make a decision until the very last minute. But also maybe that is just bringing extra stress on me because it is a decision that I actually have to make before the race. I should just do a Mark Zuckerberg or a Steve Jobs and just wear the same thing every day. That way all the decisions are just taken care of. So, but I can't do that, all right? I have all these shoes, I have to make a decision, and I want your help. Let me know in the comments which shoe you would wear if you were in my position. Okay, that was just a quick video today. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.